Hello and welcome. Welcome to this weekly Wednesday satsang. Half an hour just to meet ourselves and also to be together, to meet each other in a way. And to have a pause in the middle of our week, whatever has been going on for you in your week, to take some time to slow down or stop and just be with what is here. So, first of all, because we in this half an hour don't have dialogues, I like to hear how you're doing, those of you who are here on the Zoom. So if you feel to type in the chat just one or two words or a sentence maximum, how you are right now, what you're bringing to this session in this moment, what is moving through, what you're exploring, whatever feels right for you to share in the chat. One or two words would be lovely just to get a sense of what is here right now. And for those watching the live stream, unfortunately, I can't respond to or look at the comments on the live stream at the moment, but I'll look afterwards. Yeah, you don't have to write an essay, just one word or two. Danny, a bit stressed, many things going on today in the private life, very busy. I understand. Stephanie, grateful, at peace, and at peace. Dennis, setting aside the urgency of time and just being free of concerns for the moment. Yeah, great. Just giving yourself a break. Life is so busy for many of us a lot of the time. Such a fast pace that it's great to just give ourselves this time to take a break and stop. Christina, sleepy. Okay, no problem. Welcome. Vitesha, pain in the legs. Yeah. Okay. Well, I like to start with a guided meditation. So if you just get comfortable wherever you're sitting, and you can close your eyes. And first of all, we just feel how we are right now in this space, in this room that you're in, wherever it is, in this building, in this room, in this space. Even with the eyes closed, we can have a sense of how we feel in this space. And then noticing the contact with the ground, perhaps the feet touching the ground, or the contact with the seat where you're sitting. Feeling the ground holding you up. And we can notice the breath just the way it is. the rising and the falling of the belly and of the chest. The breath coming in and out of the nose or the mouth. And then we can start to notice any other sensations that are here in this present moment. How is this human feeling right now? What waves of sensation or emotion are present? And there is no right or wrong, good or bad. It's just whatever is here, we just notice. Noticing the more obvious or stronger or intense sensations, and also the more subtle, just fleeting, subtle flickers of a sensation or energy. We can also notice the thoughts, if there are thoughts commenting on what is happening, if there are stories taking our attention off into some past or future imagination or memory, we just notice that too. And then we can gently bring the attention back to what is happening presently. Just acknowledging that, yes, there is thought. Yes, there is imagination or memory. Acknowledging it without giving it more attention or energy. Everything has equal value. Thoughts are not more important than the sensations or emotions. Everything is phenomena arising and falling away. Happening in the knowing of it, the awareness of whatever is happening in the experience. And this knowing, this awareness is who you are, always. Always aware, always awake, always seeing, knowing the experience of this human life. And we can again bring our attention to the breath, taking some deeper breaths into the belly. And then when you're ready, we can open our eyes and come back to the screen. So every week I either respond to a question or pick a theme to speak about. So this time I'd like to speak about how the self, or the separate self, is always defending something. And first of all, what do I mean by defending? Well, usually we think of defending as arguing, attacking, or protecting ourselves. But most of the time we are defending an identity, a separate me that perhaps needs to be right or needs approval, or perhaps there's a protecting of a self-image that can be very scary to let go of. It can also be defending beliefs and ideas, concepts about yourself, defending your vulnerability and uncertainty. And all of this is a very natural mechanism, actually, a mechanism of survival. So I'm not suggesting that it's wrong. It's just shining a light on how it works and what it is, and how we are defending an identity that actually, when we look closely at it, it is simply a thought, perhaps a memory, a story that we tell, some old conditioning. Maybe there is a physical sensation that goes along with it, but then thought is then interpreting that sensation and making a story out of it, a story of me. Maybe even there's a place in the body where we feel that that story of me is located. Perhaps it has a particular assumed reference point. But of course, anytime we look for that separate me, again, we will just simply find a sensation or a thought or just an assumption. And so this defending, it goes on even though the identity is not real. It still goes on because the programming of this body, of this human, is still here and inevitably will be here for the rest of our lives. And this is just something to welcome, actually, and to get to know and to become conscious of. So we tend to defend this separate me when it feels threatened. When we feel, for whatever reason, our identity is under threat. Perhaps someone questions what we think we know or who we think we are, or our vulnerability may be exposed, and that doesn't feel safe, and so we become defensive. It may even be beyond thought, even just a facial expression or just a little comment, and the nervous system interprets that as a threat, and then we start to justify or defend or protect, and this goes on by itself. And when we are believing that there is really a separate me that needs defending, then it creates a sense of separation, because this apparent separate me needs opposition in order to maintain itself. It needs the other. It needs to fight or argue or compare or disagree, reject, so that it can hold on to its belief in its own story. As long as there is this resistance to push against that we believe in, we can maintain our belief in this separate me, which is why thinking mechanisms like comparing are very seductive, because when we compare, we get to maintain our separate me story. We say the other is better or worse, and therefore I am me. I am better or worse than the other. Or I think this and the other is wrong. Blame, attacking for our differences. And we see that a lot going on in the world, and in our private lives perhaps as well, even subtly. Even if we think that we are very open and easygoing, we can still be doing this more subtly, in a more sneaky way, judging ourselves, trying to be as good as the other, or putting ourselves up on some kind of pedestal or the other up. We play these power games in our relationships, and when we do this, we miss true intimacy, true connection, because we are defending a separate self, and from that separate self we can never truly connect. And of course we long for true connection, for true intimacy. And in order to experience true connection and intimacy, we have to take a risk to expose our vulnerability, to let down these boundaries of separation. And of course, it's not always a good idea. It's not always something that you should do, because sometimes we are in a situation where we do need to protect ourselves or defend ourselves against something or someone. And so then it's about discerning in the moment. Is this a real, genuine threat? And if so, then we need to take care of ourselves, of course. And whether it is a perceived threat, whether this body is reacting because of some past threat that it remembers and it is reliving it in this moment. And in that case, then it's about meeting the sensations, noticing where the tension is starting in the body, when there's a contracting, a closing, when the thoughts start to do that separation story. We start to notice that, and we can see, okay, this old story is playing out as if I'm separate, and it gives the illusion of safety and protection, but actually it makes me feel very isolated, very alone. And this kind of defense is never a real defense. In fact, when we take a risk to open up and first of all meet our own vulnerability as it is, to meet what we really feel or what we really long for, and then to meet the other and take a risk to reveal how we really feel, this creates much more of a sense of connection and openness, ease. And you can see that actually this defending a separate identity, first of all, takes up so much time and energy and effort, but also it is the opposite of what we long for. So as long as we are defending a separate self, we are maintaining suffering. And so by simply starting to see this mechanism, to notice the sensations, noticing the thoughts as they are, we are already not identifying so much with this mechanism. We're already starting to see from back here that this is what's happening in the human experience. This is not me. This is a mechanism playing out in who I am. Yeah, who I am is so much wider and bigger than this apparent small separate me. This true self that I am doesn't need defending. It is always open and expansive, welcoming of whatever is here in the human experience. Even if there is this defending mechanism that is here, who you really are is open to that, sees it, knows it. And as we start to identify more and more with that we are, then this defense mechanism, defending this separate me, loses more and more of its power. And it can still be there. No one's trying to get rid of any of it, because that, of course, would be another separate me, right? A bit more of a spiritual separate me. So no one's trying to fix it or get rid of it. We're just seeing it for what it is. And when we see it for what it is, already we have some distance from it, and we can know this is not who I am. I can risk being absolutely unprotected because I am unprotected. That's who I am. I am openness itself. I am the only self, and this self doesn't need defending ever. So we've just about come to the end of our time. Time flies. So if you feel like typing another word or two in the chat, how you are now, maybe it's changed, maybe it hasn't, you're welcome. Danny, much more calm now. Thank you so much. Thank you. Christina, grateful. Yeah, so, well, Stephanie, everything gets clearer and lighter. Yeah, beautiful. Well, thank you very much, everyone. It's always a pleasure. Vitesha writes, at ease. Great. Thank you. See you next week, same time, same place. Lots of love. Bye.